Well, in this video, I am going to, of course, give a review of Steven Pinker's The Better Angels of Our Nature, Why Violence Has Declined. First off, I want to tell you straight out, this is a must read. If you're dealing with people, religious people telling you, Jesus is going to return soon, or Muhammad is going, or whatever is going to return soon, Allah, or whatever God they believe in is going to do this. Crime is going up, it's a lot worse now than then, and all this stuff. You're dealing with people on the far left that keeps telling you, running their mouths about how bad racism is and all this stuff, and people on the far right, which are the ones that are going to be telling you, well, the world's about to end and all this stuff. This is definitely a book you need when you deal with people like that. Because this guy gives you a lot of good information, a lot of good statistics. And of course, people on the far right are complaining about Islam, Muslim terrorism. Of course, he tells you that majority of terrorists are Muslims. But one of the parts he does tell you, giving you statistics and gives you evidence, he shows you back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, most of the terrorism in Europe were by Europeans against Europeans. And then, of course, you look at the crime rate, murder rate, and stuff like that, like in the medieval times, in Europe was far worse than even in, South America, Africa, or anywhere else. It was pretty damn bad. So if someone tells you crime is getting worse, you need to read this book, There's just, it tells you about the long peace, between World War II and now, and then, basically, they tell you, well, poverty causes crime. It shows you the evidence and statistics that disproves that. Being poor does not mean a person is going to be a criminal, although you do find crime more in the poor areas, and he gives you an explanation why you see these things. It's a definite book you need to read. It's a book you need to have in your library, a book you need to absolutely read at least more than once. And of course, he tells you about animal cruelty. At one time, people's favorite pastime was burning cats alive. Can you imagine people actually did that? And I love one part of this book. We all know they used to have duels in the old days, right? Up until the mid-19th century. But the one thing that ended the dueling is when young people started laughing at people doing it. Because at one time, you could end up having a duel with someone just because you happened to look at them wrong. You'd be surprised. And of course, mistranslations, how people mistranslate what certain people say to make it sound worse. I love how, there's too much stuff in here that I can exactly tell you. I don't want to give it away because I really do want people to read this book. It will make people like Antifa look bad, of course, because, they're one of the few groups left that still have to use violence to get what they want. He doesn't really mention them too much, but you'll notice that they are one of the few groups left that still has to use violence. Because, and an expression I love, he doesn't mention this, but I love it because you hear it all the time, free speech does not mean free from consequences. Well, if there's consequences, then it's not free speech, you dumbass. When I say that, I'm talking to people like Antifa types. Think about it, though. That means that if I complain about the government has the right to put me in jail. Well, that's the consequence, right? So obviously free speech does mean free from consequences. I'm not talking about going out and threatening violence and stuff like that, or wishing violence on some group. I'm not talking about that, And obviously the people who say stuff like that, they know what you mean. They purposely misinterpreting it. And I know people will do that. And he talks about the civil rights and decline of lynching and racial programs, which, of course, you should learn about. You really, 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 really need this book. I'm serious. I don't know why you would not want this book. There's really no reason not to buy this book. It gives you a lot of good information. I don't want to go in too much depth about everything that's in it, but if you watch The Atheist Experience, you'll notice Tracy Harris a lot of times brings up this book. You read it and you'll find out why she brings up this book. Again, it's Steven Pinker, The Better Angels of Our Nature, Why Violence Has Declined. And of course, I am Ferrari King. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please subscribe. Support smaller channels. YouTube doesn't, so someone should. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Don't forget to share this video. And check out the description for a link to my website, where I sell ebooks and stuff. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I guarantee you'll enjoy this book.